commentary match today comes from Ibrox. Should be an absolute cracker. It's Rangers against Hibs with Lee McCullough, Kenny Miller and Alistair Lamont.
Thanks, Kenny. Yeah, welcome to Ibrox as Philippe Clement takes charge of Rangers for the first time against the Hibs side that is unbeaten under their still relatively new manager, Nick Montgomery. A great sense of anticipation around Ibrox to see just what kind of impact Clement has been able to make in the few days he's had with the players. Now you might hear in the background the PA announcer here is just explaining to the capacity crowd here that the players will show their backing for the Show Racism the Red Card campaign, and the players standing aloft now with the placards in support of the campaign, which has been supported by clubs and players around the country. And as Kenny alluded to there, the players who understand can't confirm this just yet because they've still got their tracksuit tops off, but they are planning to wear black armbands as football remembers those caught up in the violence of the conflict in Israel and Gaza. So the players go through the pre-match handshakes. Hibs certainly are wearing the black armbands, as Rangers also get the tracksuit tops off in preparation for the pre-match pictures. Paul Hanlon and James Tavernier, the captains, on the centre line with referee Don Robertson, who takes charge of this afternoon's match. And Rangers desperate to get off to a winning start to Philippe Clement's reign. As Tom was mentioning earlier on, Michael Beale managed to dispense of Hibs 3 times. In fact, the 3-2 victory here back in December was his very first match in charge. So the same opponents again for Philippe Clement in his first game. And if you cast your mind back to when Giovanni van Bronckhorst took over, I don't think he was actually in charge for the League Cup semi-final, but he was at Hampden rather for that game just prior to taking over. That was Hibs' only victory over Rangers in a period that has seen them fail to beat Rangers in 19 other games in the league within that period. It will be Rangers then to get us underway. They're going from right to left as we look at it from our position on the gantry in the main stand. Cyril Dessers is given the number 9 position. He wears the number 9 jersey, and Rangers get us up and running. There's an early ball forward from Tavernier, headed on by Sima. Scott Wright and Lammers trying to force it into the penalty area. Hibs get it clear up towards Venta, but Barisic steps in on the halfway line, knocks it all the way back to Jack Butland at the edge of his penalty area, and again he goes long. Looks like Rangers are in these early stages looking to go fairly directly, McCullough.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to go up into Dessers. I think this will just be starting the game, playing it territorially, playing the game in Hibs half. It's interesting to see Hibs looks like they're starting 4-4-2 formation, which with Rangers in the formation they've got potentially could have an extra man in the middle of the pitch, which could be pivotal and crucial in the game and stamping authority on the game. So yes, excited.
Yeah, we'll see. Kenny Miller was alluding to that as well in terms of the formation. Here's Tavernier, right hand side. I think that broke back off Tavernier, but the assistant points for a corner kick, so an early opportunity for Rangers to load the box and try and make something of this, as Joe Newell went back there to track Tavernier's run, and off him and behind for the corner kick as Rangers throw Goldson and Suter into the Hibs penalty area to try and get an early breakthrough under the new manager. Tavernier's corner, high in the air off the head of Newell. Scott Wright and Venta challenge for it, comes to Lammers, back to Tavernier, right hand side, back into the area. Suter's up there, breaks to the edge of the box where Goldson picks up. He just tries to clip it back in, but it's too much on it. Behind for a goal kick, a couple of minutes gone, Kenny Miller, and Rangers certainly having the early opportunities to get it into the penalty area.
Yeah, you would have expected that. A positive start, front foot and aggressive. You see that for the first opportunity Jack Butland's had. He's tried to hit Seema on the left-hand side, and like Lee says, play in the half and get this crowd behind him with a kind of high energy, fast start. So it's been all Rangers in the first two in the first 2 minutes.
Philippe Clement has come onto the park and did a Derek McInnes there.
He's almost tackled somebody there, Al.
That's exactly the same as Derek McInnes there, up at Dundee.
You know, Derek McInnes was he shown a yellow or a red card for coming onto the... It was a red card, wasn't it? But I think ultimately what's been decided is the ball was already out of play, which is what Derek McInnes thought at the time as well. Philippe Clement just coming onto the park there to kick the ball back in.
He's dodged an early bullet there.
Imagine that in your debut. Sent off as a manager.
Well, Graham Souness knew all about that against Hibs back in the day. We were talking about him earlier on, back in 1986, took over, and his first appearance at Easter Road on that occasion was ended early for a over-the-ball challenge of George McCluskey, I seem to remember. It's one for a certain generation as Goldson sends it out to the right-hand side for Tavernier, advancing 15 yards from the goal line. It's a good ball in, headed away by Will Fish in there, and had to be defended well as Tavernier made good ground down the right-hand side. 3.5 minutes on the clock. Good battle today, that Johan and Tavernier. I think Tavernier will be looking to get forward. Johan let him go there, but it's the other side it as well, where the defensive side it for Tavernier. Barisic forward, it's too heavy for Seema, who won't catch it. Frustrating for Seema, who was in a good position. Barisic too much on the pass, behind for another goal kick, almost 4 minutes in, and it's Rangers 0, Hibs 0. Hibs goal kick then to be taken by Will Fish, just plays it short back into his 6-yard box for David Marshall. Dessers trying to close him down, and Fish gets it back, plays it forward. It's a heavy touch there by Mark Boyle, but Hibs managed to keep possession. Venta is clipped there by Scott Wright, was it? Yeah, the free kick eventually given as Yuan hit the deck, and it will be a free kick to Hibernian just inside their own half.
It was good upper body strength there for Yuan, just edgy Scott Wright out of the ball, and then it was looked to go on the attack. He was clipped, definite foul.
Fish has it back to David Marshall, who had to go off early in that Edinburgh derby with a groin injury, but he has recovered, of course. Notice Joe Wallicott's back in the bench, having recovered from his injury that has prevented him having much match time so far in his Hibernian career, but back on the bench in place of Max Boritz today, and he'll contest that jersey with David Marshall. Here's John Suter, plays it back to the edge of the penalty area for Goldson, and he goes long over the top looking for Scott Wright. Hanlon read it. Dessers gets the break of the ball, comes to Raskin at the edge of the centre circle, out to the left-hand side for Seema, up against Miller, loses control of the ball there, and Boyle back to help his defence, and Diego can release Lafondra now down the right-hand side for Hibernian. This will be when they're at their most dangerous, you'd imagine, on the counter. Lafondra has to hold it up though, and back with Miller, who made his Australian debut in the international break against England, and then started against New Zealand in what he describes a very special occasion for him. He's certainly come on to a game for Hibs this season, as Obita picks up, keeps it in on the left-hand side, goes all the way back to his goalkeeper from the halfway line, and Marshall plays it out short to Fish. Now Miller checks away from Seema, and back to Fish once more, midway inside his own half. 6 minutes on the clock, no goals at Ibrox. Will keep you up to date with all the other goals that go in around the country, as Marshall picks up possession again and then plays it out short to Newell. Shows good composure to move away from Raskin, just took a bit of a chance, but he's good enough player there to keep possession. But Hibs now have coughed up, and Tavernier plays it forward for Lammers. Lammers can he get the shot away before Fish closes him down, knows the answer. The shot is blocked behind, and it will be another Rangers corner, but that's just where Lammers' slight lack of pace, Lee, comes in.
Yeah, great play for Tavernier there. coming in, reading the situation, good pass forward, and yes, Lammers on his right foot from just inside the box. It gets blocked, but yeah, I think there was a distinct lack of pace there in that move.
Tavernier then out to the right hand side to take this corner kick. Plenty of bodies in blue to aim for. It's a near post ball. It's met by Lafondra high up in the air. The clearance is completed back there by Venta as Rangers try to come forward down the right hand side. Yuan backtracking and makes the challenge. Raskan felt he was fouled there, but nothing given, and Hibs able to clear the lines and now come forward, but Lundstrom gets the challenge in, and Rangers have it back once more through goals, and almost 8 minutes on the clock, and certainly Rangers having more of the ball but unable to test David Marshall in the Hibs goal as yet. Suter on the halfway line plays it square for Tavernier, who has the faith of his new manager. Clement was asked whether he'd be thinking about changing captaincy. Felt he didn't need to do that, certainly not at this stage. Here's Barisic on the other flank, plays it into the penalty area. It was a poor ball, and Newell able to bring it down in his chest and play it forward for Boyle. Up to the halfway line he comes. Venta tries to link with Boyle, but Goldson nips in and wins it. Now Barisic tries to release Sima, bordering on the offside but allowed to go. Miller gets back at him, and Marshall then collects as it comes into his 6-yard box. Good defensive play from Miller. He wasn't sure whether Sima would have been offside, and Hibs break up that attack and begin one of their own out to Obita on the left hand side. Now it's Diego. Obita once more midway inside his own half, left hand side, plays it back to Marshall once more. Any early observations, Kenny, in terms of the way Rangers are playing, the setup, or anything that you've noticed that is new to the fans here?
No, nothing at all. I think you can see it's a clear 4-2-3-1 with Lammers playing in that 10 position, a position that a lot of people have been saying it needs to be deployed in to try and get the best out of him, but no, he's played in that position a number of times, whether it be a solitary 10 or a double 10. He's been in there before, but the one thing is Hibs are not just going to give the ball back to Rangers. They're going to try and keep the ball, they're going to try and play as well, and take the sting out of it when they get it.
Here's Venta going for goal over his near post. Jack Butland clutches that one. He was on the angle there. Venta just rather sliced at it with the outside of his right boot, and Butland had to be alert. Still 0-0.
Barisic down there, Alistair. I think he's feeling a thigh by the looks of it.
There's been a goal at Partick Thistle. We'll hear about that while Barisic gets treatment. Chick Young.
It's a goal for Dundee United. The lead leaders ahead here, playing in an unfamiliar green strip for Dundee United. Corner on the right hand side. Middleton swung it across, and Craig Sibbald all alone at the far side of the box had all the time in the world to take it down and drive it beyond Jamie Snedden. It's a goal for Dundee United here. A large travelling support celebrate in the background alley. It's United ahead. Partick Thistle 0, Dundee United 1.
Thanks, Chick. Yeah, Barisic still receiving treatment. He played both, or started both of Croatia's internationals in the break defeats by Turkey and Wales, and he might have to be replaced in these early stages. Ridvan Yilmaz is among the substitutes. I didn't give you the subs early on. I'll just run through both sides. McCrory on the bench in terms of the substitute keeper for Rangers. Yilmaz, Jack, Cantwell, Roof, Davies, Balogun, McCausland and Danilo for Rangers. On the bench for Hibs, it's Wallacott, as I mentioned, Levitt, Stevenson, Doidge, Del Ferrier, Tavares, Campbell, Bashiri and Whittaker, and Barisic is going to have to make way with just 10 minutes played, and Ridvan Yilmaz, the young Turk, will come on. There's a straight swap at the left back position. Not ideal for Philippe Clement to have to make an early change, an enforced one, and will be comfortable enough for Yilmaz to slot in there, but Yilmaz isn't in the Europa League squad, and they've got Sparta Prague out in the Czech Republic on Thursday. I'm not sure if Barisic will have recovered by then, so there might be a bit of a reshuffle required, but that's for another day. Butland gets things rolling once more as Barisic walks off. There's been a goal at Dunfermline. Alan Preston can tell us about it.
Yeah, it's a really good move down the left hand side, and the ball comes back, it's cut across the box, and there's Logan Chalmers on the right hand side with his left foot smashing it past the Dunfermline keeper Mehmet to give Ayr United a 1-0 lead.
Thanks, Alan. So goals in both of the championship games so far, both for the visitors in either contest, as Raskin tries to play it through for Dessers. That's just cut out. Goldson at the other end has to head away before Yuan can latch on to a through ball. And then Goldson finds Yilmaz, first touch for him since coming on. It's a good ball forward for Sima, over the top. Lewis Miller trying to get back at him, down the left hand side go Rangers. Sima's ball in is cleared by Obita. It wasn't a bad ball, but Obita was first to it as Lefondre knocks it forward for Hibernian, and it's Boyle on the chase. Back goes Goldson into the Rangers penalty area, goes Boyle right hand side. Goldson gets the challenge in and blocks it away for a throw-in on this near side. It's 12.5 minutes played at Ibrox. Rangers 0, Hibernian 0.
Great play for Sima there, Al. He's coming short, defender's going short with him, he spins in the space, and what a cross he's put in the box. Scott Wright still out wide. I think he needs to be attacking the back post there, and then Rangers nearly get done the counter. Martin Boyle slip pass through, and Goldson just recovers. So yes, good all-round play there.
Throw in then on the right hand side to be taken by Lewis Miller, just a few yards away from the corner flag, right hand side. It's a long one into the penalty area. Lundstrom's missed out at the back post. It's Hanlon trying to get onto it, knocked back across goal by Yuan, and eventually into the arms of Jack Butland, but that could well have ended up in the back of his net had Hibs been a bit more alert inside that 6 yard box.
And I think they should have been asked. I think it's John Suter completely misreads the flight of the ball, and he was in no man's land, and it fell. I just don't think any Hibs player had expected him to miss it. It fell to the back post, and there was a good block. I think it was from Lammers. Eventually, just seen the ball into Jack Butland's hands, but a real opportunity, first real opportunity of the game for Hibs.
That scenario there was a wee bit like the goal they conceded at Kilmarnock.
Bang on, yeah.
Exactly, and it was John Suter again. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was Lundstrom initially, but you're bang on, the pair of you, John Suter.
He just gets caught under the ball, I think he just gets sucked towards it and it just goes right over his head. That's a ball dropping in the middle of your 6 yard box. It's not good defending for a Rangers perspective.
Vernon have it just at the edge of their own penalty area, but it does look like there are going to be chances in this game for them. They're set up very attacking, and Miller just too heavy with the pass through for Lefondre, who's disappointed at the delivery through to him.
And it just shows you, Alistair, like Hibs playing out, they're sucking Rangers onto them, and you can see with the forward running of Boyle and Lefondre, they've got runners beyond that Rangers backline. That was quite an easy pass there that Miller's just overhit.
Here come Rangers down the right hand side. It's Wright taking it on the chest. Tavernier goes on the overlap outside of him. Early ball in from the fullback. Dessers with the volley, first time into the arms of David Marshall. Not a bad connection by Cyril Dessers, gets it on target, but can't overly trouble the Hibs keeper. Rangers 0, Hibs 0. There's been a goal at Rugby Park before the guys come in, so let's just hear about that from Stephen Craigan.
Yes, Alistair, has gone to the home side. A terrific play down the left-hand side by Kyle Vassell and Ndaba. Ndaba breaks down eventually into the final third, fizzes it across goal. David Watson actually misses it at his left foot swinger. Daniel Armstrong picks it up, jukes inside, a ticket to deflection, possibly off Mikey Delvin, ends up in the back of the net, 1-0 to Kilmarnock.
Thanks, Stephen. Yeah, there was a ball in the back of the net here as well, but the free kick had already been given to Hibernian for a foul on Paul Hanlon. Cyril Dessers just knocked it back soft to the back of the net. Sam Lammer's the one penalised.
I think that's soft. I think he gets a touch in the ball there. I would need to see it again, but it looks like he's won the ball clearly, and it leaves Dessers in a 1v1, but the referee had already blew his whistle. But just before that, Tavernier gaining forward, momentum forward, puts a great ball in. Dessers with a volley, it was just behind him, shows good technique, and he's got his shot on target.
Yeah, Dessers is a man in desperate need of a goal, you feel, just to get his confidence back up. Hasn't scored in his last 4 since netting here against Motherwell. He's linking here with Sima though. Sima, by a great turn of pace, he's got Dessers in the middle, but he goes for goal himself! Abdallah Sima once again for Rangers into the bottom corner, strikes the first blow of the game, and of Philippe Clement's Rangers reign, and it's Rangers 1, Hibernian 0.
and it's a sensational finish for Seema. But I can't help that Hibs maybe just losing the ball in the middle of that pitch again. They've been taking a few chances and Rangers just kind of snuffed them out, and it ended up with a bit of link-up between Dessers and Seema using all his pace and his power just to stretch away for that Hibs back line, Fisher Hanlon, and he's finished to drill it in low across David Marshall for a really tight angle. It's a wonderful finish for Seema, just inside the box on the right hand side, then he drills it into the bottom corner past David Marshall. Dream start for Philip Clement.
Just watching it again, Kenny's spot on. The composure to finish that, but the pace to get away from the defender is really impressive. That's a great finish. Absolutely brilliant finish. Perfect start for Rangers and Philippe Clement, as Kenny says.
6 goals in his last 6 starts for Rangers, Abdallah Seema. He's on absolute fire at the moment, and it's 8 goals for the season in total, 4 in the league for Seema, Rangers' top scorer. And although he had Dessers in the middle, who might well have had a tap in if Seema had found him, Seema had nothing else in his mind other than going for goal. And well, he had good reason to, because he buried it way beyond David Marshall into the bottom corner. Rangers lead by a goal to nil with 17 minutes played, and the Rangers fans begin to find their voice.
And as a player, even through this bad time, Alistair, he must be playing with a bit of confidence now after a really slow start, where there was a lot of question marks getting thrown at him as well. Like you say, his goal return over this last 6-8 weeks has been absolutely outstanding, and he's just continued that today.
Here's Venter, right hand side of the penalty area though for Rangers. Lundstrom goes to ground and had to get something on the ball there inside the penalty area, and he did manage to do so. Forces it behind for a corner as Hibs look for an early response. Corner kick to the visitors. 18 minutes in, they find themselves behind in the game.
Listen, I think Hibs have been well in the game. You know, they've had their moments where they're trying to keep possession. They've had a couple of chances to play through on the counter-attack through Boyle, but they've just not kind of really got to that threat of Jack Butland's goal yet. But they've started the game okay. There's just been too many turnovers, and they've been caught at the back line with Fish and Hanlon.
Joe Newell then to take the corner from the right hand side, swings it in left-footed, high in there, this time from John Souttar, completes the clearance himself. Hibs though trying to keep it alive on the edge of the box, away by Tavernier. Hanlon tries to help it back into the penalty area. Lammers gets something on it and then forces it forward and finds Seema, and they've got 2-on-1. Dessers again is the option, he tries to find them this time and it comes off. Obita there, back in the defending as Rangers pick up once more. Perhaps Seema would have been better advised going himself again, this time down the left hand side, but trying to pick out Dessers. Rangers
agree, again. Seema a little bit more composure there. He takes it a little bit further, creates that passing lane, and then he can pass into Dessers. I think he got a little bit excited there when he seen Dessers charging through the middle free, and just an extra second if he delayed it, then it would have been an easier pass for him.
Rangers have a throw in taken by Yilmaz, left hand side. Lammers gets it to Raskan, left hand side of the penalty area. Now Yilmaz comes away from Diego, goes down, rather throws himself to the ground. Rangers fans looking for a free kick, but Don Robertson saw nothing wrong, and didn't see much wrong myself. And now for a throw in to Hibernian. 20 minutes on the clock, Rangers 1, Hibernian nil. Kilmarnock a goal up against Livingston at Rugby Park, and goals in the championship for both Dundee United at Firhill against Partick Thistle, and for Ayr United at East End Park against Dunfermline. Kenny McIntyre will bring us a roundup of the League 1 and 2 games just shortly, but Scott Wright coming forward for Rangers, right hand side into the area looking for Dessers. Fish gets there first and nods behind. Rangers with their tails up just at the moment,
and they're just looking really dangerous every time. As soon as the ball turns over, there just seems to be Rangers options. Blue jerseys are free just to go on the counter, whether it be Wright like it was in that situation, or Seema for his goal, for the opportunity there where he could have slid Dessers. Every time the ball turns over, Hibs look in real trouble.
Rangers corner then, right hand side, to be taken by their captain James Tavernier. Again Souttar and Goldson forward, looking to try and get on the end of this. It is Souttar who does get his head to it, comes to Goldson, left hand side of the penalty area, has to come out of the box and then pokes it towards Lundstrom. Lundstrom had begun to go the other way though, and it's out for a throw into Hibernian deep in their own territory, down near the corner flag on the right hand side, as Rangers look to add to their 1-goal advantage And OK, let's cross to Kenny McIntyre, who can bring us up to date with those League 1 and 2 results or scorelines.
4 games in League 1. Alloa 1, Kelty Hearts 1, Annan Athletic 0, Queen of the South 0, Hamilton Accies 0, Edinburgh City 0, Stirling Albion 0, Falkirk 1. And in League 2 this afternoon, Bonnyrigg Rose 1, Clyde 1, East Fife 0, Stranraer 0, Spartans 0, Dumbarton 0. And in England, the lunchtime kick-off finish, Liverpool 2, Everton 0, Bournemouth 1, Wolves 0, Brentford 0, Burnley 0, Man City 2, Brighton 0, Newcastle 1, Crystal Palace 0, Nottingham Forest 0, Luton 0.
Thanks, Kenny. We'll hear more from Kenny at half-time with all those scorelines updated. As David Marshall just rolls the ball out to Diego, who plays it back into the left-back position where Paul Hanlon, the Hibs captain, is taking up position. Here's Lewis Miller after the big switch of play. Back it goes to Fish just inside his own half. Now Diego, edge of the centre circle, closed down by Lammers, plays it back out to the left-hand side to Hanlon. Into the feet of Obita, tries to find Yuan, but that was well read by Tavernier. And Diego picks up once more just at the edge of his own penalty area, plays it short to Fish. Fish brings it up towards the halfway line, but he's dispossessed, and Sima picks up, and he's moved away from Fish, looking for support. He has to try and ride another challenge from Hanlon instead. Then Yuan gets back, and he's just overdone it there, Sima, and Yuan picks up possession. And he just had to use the ball, but Yuan's done exactly the same. Seamer's dispossessed him, and now it's Tavernier into the feet of Lammers with his back to goal. Scott Wrights gets turned in the 10 position. Back comes Le Fondre. He's managed to get a touch, and Lammers wins it back for Rangers. Play exchanging hands one way then the other. Now it's Yilmaz's left hand side. Not a bad ball then, headed away by Fish back there. And then Venta back helping his defence, just plays it down the line, out of play on the Rangers left. Throw in quickly taken by Suter into Goldson. Goldson on the halfway line to Raskan. Raskan brings it forward, looking for options, and then goes back the way to Goldson. Goldson just inside his own half, plays it square to Suter. 24 on the clock here. Rangers 1, Hibernian 0. Abdallah Sima with the only goal of the game. And Rangers, pretty good value for that advantage at this stage as Jack Butland picks up possession on the edge of his own penalty area and plays it short to Goldson. Goldson then goes up long, looking over the top for the runner Scott Wright. He'd come deeper, and Obita has to go back the way and collect possession down near his own corner flag and plays it short to Diego. Diego looks up and finds Venta out to the right hand side for Miller. Miller gets turned just inside his own half, looks further on a Boyle. Yilmaz looks to have read that though, and it's all the way through in any case to Butland, who was being linked with Birmingham City after Wayne Rooney was appointed manager there. And the last thing Rangers want is interest in pretty much their top signing of the summer, Lee.
Yeah, he's been tremendous this season. Just as Rangers going to counter-attack, Jack Butland has been absolutely brilliant this season, and it was a hard mantle to take, taking over for Alan McGregor, but I think he's been the outstanding player for Rangers this season, along with maybe you could add Sima to that for his goal return. He's a little bit, Sima's been a threat here today with in behind using his pace. I think the game's settled slightly, Al. Now it's settled down, the hustle and bustle's away for the game. We can see Hibs trying to get in behind the Rangers defence.
There's Lundstrom prodding it out to Tavernier, right hand side of the penalty area as Rangers come forward. Obita with him. Forward for Scott Wright to get a deflection on its way behind off Paul Hanlon. Rangers will have another corner as they look to put a bit of daylight between themselves and Hibernian. Tavernier once more will come forward and take this corner kick from the right hand side. Almost 26 minutes played. Rangers 1, Hibernian 0. Suter and Obita both holding on to each other at the edge of the penalty area.
Right in front,
keeping a close eye on that. Comes into the near post. Lammers gets something on it. Lundstrom thought about the shot, but then goes back out to the right hand side to Tavernier. He's challenged by Yuan. Tavernier gets the better of him though, into the angle of the box. Scott Wright with the opportunity. Out comes David Marshall. Dessers is in there, breaks the way of Suter. His shot's blocked. Back with Lammers. Could that come off the arm? Suter gets a shot in again. Then Seema tries to roll it into the bottom corner, and it's behind for a goal kick, but Rangers still claim for the handball in there. Don Robertson listening into the VAR, who's Gavin Duncan. Kenny?
It's here.
Suter fairly lashed it off. I think it was Will Fish.
I think it comes off his thigh, then his hand. So I think letter of the law, it isn't a penalty, but I might be wrong with that. I would need to see it again. But Rangers, a certain massive pressure there, sort of goal mouth scramble. I know Kenny's...
Mike Wood went there.
Kenny lost his mic.
It was no, it was carnage. I mean, listen, the one thing about VAR, it's going to get checked, and we'll be able to see pretty clearly soon if it's struck the hand and it is a penalty. But it was it's been good pressure for Rangers there, sustained pressure. There's shots, there's blocks. They're keeping Hibs pinned in, and if anything, it's just it looks like a matter of time before Rangers might get that second goal.
Don Robertson is being advised, and then he's waved play on. So
we've not seen it again, Will, but it looked like his thigh, then his hand, and his hands were quite close to his body. So I'm sure letter of the law means it's not a penalty.
And very close proximity as well, coming in at a lot of power as well.
Yeah, Rangers were peppering the Hibs goal there, but nothing really found its way through to David Marshall, and Hibs still well in the game at just 1-0 down with 28 minutes.
I just say there, Scott Wright had a chance, 1v1 there, just before the Stramash, let's call it, in the box. He just seems as if he's lacking a little bit of confidence at the moment, Scott, in his own abilities. He's got pace, power, he's just not using it, and that, what a chance that was, but he didn't even get the right connection on the ball. He just looks a little bit short of confidence.
Yeah, you can understand that. He's been in and out. The team looked like he was actually going to leave in the summer, didn't it? He was off to Turkey having talks, but that fell through. Here's Eliuan at the other end trying to create an equaliser. Obita's well advanced, come back off him though as he tried to play it across goal, and it will be a Rangers goal kick as Connor Goldson went across to close him down, and Rangers will have the goal kick. We're going to get another look at the potential penalty decision, or the penalty claim at least. I'm not even sure it does hit the arm of Joe Neal in there, does it?
It looks like his chest. Yeah. There, just when you see it again, the benefit obviously of the replay, it's thigh, then it looked like chest there instead of hand.
All the way through to David Marshall, who just quickly bowls it out to Will Fish. Hibs won't be too despondent at the way the game is set right now. They were 2-0 down against Hearts, of course, last time out, and quickly found their way back into that game, so they will feel they are capable of doing that. Yilmaz and Seema get into a bit of a mix-up, allows Hibs to come forward down the right-hand side. Miller finds a Boyle, and it's played back for Miller. Seema slides in, but doing some defensive duties to recover there, and knocks it out of play for Hibernian. Throw-in down near the corner flag as they attack down the right-hand side. Miller will look to perhaps launch this one in. The last time he did it caused a bit of confusion in the Rangers penalty area, and he'll have the opportunity to do so again as he allows Hanlon and Fish to make their way inside the Rangers box before launching this one in. Rangers will look to tidy things up a bit better than they did the last time. Here's Miller's throw, and it's another long one into the box. It's flicked away to the edge of the penalty there. Scott Wright helps it on. Diego's there as Dessers slides in, and it's Diego's knocked it out of play, say the officials, and it'll be a Rangers throw midway inside their own half on the left hand side, to be taken by the LA substitute Ridvan Yilmaz. Barisic having to go off with what looked like a thigh problem. And how do you think Philippe Clement will be feeling about his opening half hour in charge here, Kenny Miller?
Listen, I think he'll be pretty happy. I mean, they're 1-0 up. They've had a lot of control. I do think they look a little bit vulnerable on the counter-attack. I mean, that last attack before that long throw for Lewis Miller, he should have had the pass away out in front of Boyle. Boyle's lightning pace. If he got that out in front of him, Boyle would have been running onto it and potentially attacking Jack Butland's goal. But for a Rangers perspective, it's been pretty good. Again, I'm not seeing any kind of great changes or any real improvements at the moment. I think it's a very similar shape with the same types of players, and they've got a chance in taking it.
Here's Yuan, left hand side for Hibernian, cuts it back. Diego runs onto it, loses control of the ball though, and Rangers can try and counter. It's Raskan, looks to use the pace of Seema, but he doesn't give him a chance to get onto it because Lewis Miller was back there, and he picks up possession and immediately attacks down the right hand side, tries to thread it through for Boyle, but Raskan's back to recover his own mistake, and it's out for a throw-in to Hibernian, right-hand side once more, and Lewis Miller will again have the opportunity to throw this into the penalty area, but both Hanlon and Fish staying back for the moment, so it might be a shorter option. Indeed it is, into the feet of Lefondre. Here is the veteran striker. He can't find a teammate. Yilmaz steps in, and Scott Wright picks up and knocks it forward for Yilmaz once more. Across comes Fish. Yilmaz is beating him to it. Not sure it was any contact there. Yilmaz goes down, but he could have continued, it seemed. Philippe Clement is furious here with the fourth official as play is allowed to continue. Yilmaz certainly seemed to be impeded, if not actually touched, by Will Fish as he took a big swipe at the ball, and Yilmaz, I just think he could have continued. Then Joe Newell gets the decision in the middle of the park for the challenge by Scott Wright, and the Rangers fans are infuriated by those couple of decisions.
Yeah, it's a strange one. Yilmaz breaking forward there, and was it Fish coming out, and I thought he was going to really take him clean out. I sat back in my seat, but there was no contact whatsoever, and I think Yilmaz was looking for the contact, but there was none, so that's why the referee didn't give a foul. The game continued, and it was the referees gave a soft foul against Scott Wright, I think it was, in the full stadiums, let him know.
Well, Boyle's been penalised for a challenge on Ridvan Yilmaz deep in Rangers territory. Rangers get the free kick after a fashion. Let's go across to Rugby Park. Yeah, let's hear from Stephen Craig. I think there's a penalty there, Stephen.
Al, there absolutely is, and it's gone for Livingston. You'd have to say against the run of play. The ball was bouncing about in the 18-yard box. Brad Lyons and Mo Sangari both went for the ball. Sangari got there first, and Brad Lyons kicked his heel as he was kicking the ball away. So Sean Kelly's just took 2 steps back. He's aiming towards the Livingston fans, and he puts it into the goalkeeper's left-hand side. It's Kilmarnock 1, Livy 1.
Thanks, Craigs. Sean Kelly. He scored a goal against Stuart, penalty against his brother, didn't he, a couple of weeks back. Liam Kelly was also beaten by Kylian Mbappe, which is an altogether different thing, and his Scotland international debut in Lille during the week. Hibs have a free kick at the edge of their own penalty area. Let's hear what's happening at Firhill from Chick Young between Partick Thistle and Dundee United.
Yeah, still Dundee United, the visitors, leading by a goal to 0 against Thistle here. I have to say, probably that's justice in terms of the pressure, though. In the last few minutes, Thistle have got themselves back into it. They're getting a little threats forward, an attacking sense. Excuse me, haven't really created a clear goal-scoring opportunity yet, but much more confident in the ball, and they've held United to 1-0 when probably United on pressure should have been more than that in terms of a lead. It's 1-0 to the Jags at the moment, Alistair.
Thanks, Chick. Hibs have a throw-in over on the far side, quickly taken to Joe Newell. Ellie Ewan's not really been able to get into the game. I know that Nick Montgomery said after the draw with Hearts, in which Ewan got that quick-fire double, that he'd asked for more from him at half-time, and he certainly provided that, but on this occasion he's not really been fed as much as anything else. But here come Hibs forward on the right-hand side. It's Venta managing to poke it back the way in the end to Diego. We'll get an update from Alan Preston at East End Park just shortly as Hanlon plays this one forward, looking for Ewan. Tavernier has to keep an eye on it. Plays it square to Yilmaz. He just hooks it out of play, which gives us a chance to cross to Dunfermline and hear from Alan Preston.
Well, it's done 1-0 to Ayr, Alistair. The Ayr should be out of sight. The game should be done. Dunfermline have been that poor. James McPate has taken both his central midfield players off in the first half, gone back to a flat 4 and tried to get in the game. Ayr United have had about 4 really good chances, and they lead 1-0.
Thanks, Alan. I think Chick might have said that it was 1-0 to the Jags at the end of his report. Just for clarity, it's 1-0 to Dundee United. I wasn't really paying attention to Chick, but that's not the first time. Here's Lammers through. He's surely offside at the edge of the penalty area. Play allowed to continue. He tries to go for goal. That's blocked by Lewis Miller. Then he plays it off him again. It's poor from Lammers. The offside flag eventually goes up, but Sam Lammers just seems to lack conviction for me in more or less everything he does.
I think he's like, it reminds me a little bit of the way Scott Wright's playing, like I said earlier. It seems to be lacking a bit of confidence there. Shift, Kenny will tell you better, shift it and get your shot away, whether you're offside or not. He's trying to beat his man 2 and 3 times, and it's a little bit frustrating, but I've been there, don't get me wrong, I've been there. When you're playing in front of this crowd and your confidence is a little bit lower, you second guess yourself and start trying to do things that you actually never even dreamed about doing beforehand.
But you could be playing with a little bit more urgency, you know, with a little bit more energy. Like, everything's just one paced. You know, you're at the top end of the pitch for Rangers. There needs to be, firstly, more quality, but do things that little bit quicker.
Yeah, you'd think you'd be trying to impress the new manager. He's obviously done enough to impress him in training to earn his starting place, but with Todd Cantwell coming back to fitness, he's on the bench today. He'll need to do better than this if he's to keep that starting place as David Marshall collects an attempted through ball from John Lundstrom. It's Rangers 1, Hibernian 0 with 8 minutes to play in this first period. Rangers certainly having the better of the opening stages, but certainly not clear of danger in this particular game, as Hibs have looked threatening on occasion in the counter-attack. Nothing majorly for Jack Butland to do, save for keeping out a Dylan Venta shot early on. Here's Joe Newell trying to do something about that. Spreads play out to the right-hand side. Lafondre dashes forward, manages to keep that in play into the penalty area, looking for Lewis Miller, but Suter plays it off Miller, and behind for a Rangers goal kick. And Philippe Clement at the edge of his technical area, trying to get something on to, I think, Cyril Dessers there. At least Dessers has looked interested, which same can't be said for Lammers.
Yeah, I think he's just trying to give information to either Dessers or Lammers that you can't just allow the midfielder to stroll into the middle of the pitch and hit a free diagonal. It's an area that has been an overload on this side with Miller, with Lafondre, with Boyle. There's been real opportunities for them to hit that. They did at this point, and Lafondre found himself on the right wing all on his own, looking to slide Lewis Miller in for the run. So I think he'll just be looking a little bit more pressure on the ball from his forwards.
Hibs have it at the back through Will Fish, turns it back to his goalkeeper David Marshall. 6.5 minutes to the interval. Rangers leading by an Abdallah Sima goal to nil, his 8th of the season. As Marshall just comes out of his penalty area and then launches it long, looking to use the pace there of Obita, who's furthest forward, but Tavernier reads it and plays it back to his goalkeeper Jack Butland, who's forced into a pretty hasty clearance by Obita. Launches it long on the left foot. Dessers can't get there. Sima will just see it out of play. It'll be a Rangers throw in more or less on the halfway line, left hand side, to be taken by Ridvan Yilmaz. And back the way he goes to John Suter. What will be going through Nick Montgomery's mind just at this stage, given that, as I say, only a couple of weeks ago his side were 2-0 down to Hearts, but managed to salvage a point from that game?
I think he'll, deep down, he'll be happy. He'll be looking for a little bit more quality in the final third, the final pass from his team. Rangers have been more dominant. They've had more corners territorially. They've been very, very good, let's say, without any real clear-cut chances. But as Nick Montgomery's Hibs side have shown, they've came back before from goals down. And I just still think they're in this game through attacking transition, sliding down the side of the Rangers centre half. They've looked a threat.
It's a Hibs corner out on the left-hand side to be taken by Martin Boyle, knocked out of play by Raskin. I think some of the Rangers fans behind the goal thought it had gone out from Yuan earlier, but it hadn't, and Diego tries to play that back into the danger area. Boyle won't keep it in though, and it's behind for a Rangers goal kick this time, as Boyle offers a wry smile to the Rangers fans after tripping over one of the banners behind the goal. There's been another goal at Rugby Park. Stephen Craigan.
Absolutely, Alan. It's gone to the home side once again. Livingston were level for just 6 minutes. It was a needless foul just over the halfway line, deep in the Livy half. Suddenly Danny Armstrong put a lovely free kick. It's an unchallenged header for Kyle Vassell at the back post and guides it past Jamal George. And the balance of play, they probably deserve it. Kilmarnock 2, Livy 1.
Thanks again, Craigs. Here come Rangers down the left-hand side. It's Sima. Raskin offers an option on the outside of him, but he goes back the way to Suter. Forward to Lammers at the edge of the penalty. He goes down under a challenge and nothing is given. Hibs try and clear it. Newell's pass forward though doesn't find Venta. Suter's in the way. And here's Wright out to the left-hand side for Raskin, edge of the box, tries to curl that to the back post, but he's got that all wrong, harmlessly behind for a goal kick, and it's Rangers 1, Hibernian 0, 4 minutes till the interval.
Yeah, and I think it goes with the saying, Nick Montgomery will want to get his team in at half-time. I mean, they're not out of this game by any manner of means, but I just think they're Rangers are looking really, really threatening on the counter. Hibs, on the other hand, with the pace that they've got, should be, but they're not picking the right pass. That was another example of there. Joe O'Neill tries to slide a pass through the Rangers back line for Dylan Benny, where he could just throw it over the top. Goldson was 2v1. You know, there is going to be opportunities for Hibs, and without, again, repeating myself every single week, the longer this stays at 1-0, the more frustrated these fans will get, the more Hibs will feel that they've got a chance to get something out of this game. Even if it's just nicking a goal and getting a point out, it would be a good point for Nick Montgomery and his team.
Yilmaz tries to play in Sima, but Miller had matched him there and gets it back to his goalkeeper David Marshall. Plays it out short to Diego at the edge of his own penalty area. Rangers dropping off and allowing him to come forward, and down the left hand side comes Obita into the Rangers half. He goes, a poor ball forward though, no chance for Yuan to get the end of that, and Nick Montgomery turns away in disgust at that pass from Obita.
And that's the thing that will absolutely be so frustrated in Nick Montgomery, because they're actually showing real bravery to get out, and in that situation there's 6 Rangers players looking back on the game, not running back, because they do look a little bit tired, they do look a little bit leggy, as if they don't want to make that 40-50 yard run back, and when you just turn the ball over, you just let them off the hook.
That's Lammers forward for Sima. There's claims for offside, but it's not given. It's out for a throw in to Rangers on this near side, about 15-20 yards inside the Hibernian half. A couple of minutes until the break. Yilmaz to take this throw in on the Rangers left. Back the way he goes to Suter, again preferred to Ben Davies at the heart of the Rangers defence alongside Connor Goldson. Goldson now midway inside his own half, plays it back to Suter, and now out to the left hand side to Yilmaz. He's forced back the way again to Suter. Suter tries to bring it out from the back. He's pulled back by Venter, and normally you see the yellow card shown for that. Don Robertson keeps his card in his pocket.
I cannot believe that's not a yellow card. He's clearly pulled his jersey. He's nearly pulled the jersey off him. He stopped to play. That's a real strange one for me.
That's normally, it's not just a standard yellow. Yeah. Maybe he's left his card in the dressing room and not in his pocket, Alistair.
Here's Yilmaz coming forward down the left hand side as Rangers look to add to their advantage before the interval. It's just behind Sima, but he's making the most of it. Newell gets back at him. Lammers has won it from him though. Raskin tries his luck from distance. He scored! Nico Raskin from 30 yards out perhaps, finds the bottom corner. It's his first goal in Rangers colours, and it's an absolute beauty from Nico Raskin. A daisy cutter which beats David Marshall down low to his right. It's Rangers 2, Hibernian 0.
What a finish, what a goal. The ball comes in, it's a little bit scrappy. Newell probably could do a little bit better, but Raskin picks up, that's a good 30 yards out, and he fires it into the bottom right hand corner of Marshall. Let's just see it from behind the goals again. Yeah, Marshall's unsighted. I thought initially he could have done better, but I think he's unsighted. He sees it late. 2-0 Rangers. Philippe Clement will be delighted.
And you've said it's a daisy cutter. He's scuffed it at the bottom of that corner along that slick surface. But there's no way that's a foul. There's no way that is a foul for Lammers on Newell. He plays the ball clear. There's no doubt about it. If anything, there was maybe a foul the other way, by the way, on Joe Newell pulling Sima initially. There you go, there.
Yeah, the goal's been given. There's a quick check.
I do think David Marshall maybe could have moved his feet a little bit quicker and got across to that. You know, it went in pretty slow.
A couple of minutes of added on time, and we are into that at the moment. Here Sima comes forward for Rangers, looking to get a third before the interval. Cross goal he goes, but can't wrap his foot around it. It will be a Hibernian goal kick, but Nico Raskin's first Rangers goal since joining in January, and it was worth waiting for as far as the Rangers fans are concerned, and it has put his fellow Belgian Philippe Clement in better fettle, no doubt, going up the tunnel for half-time with his side 2-goal advantage as Dundee United going at half-time at Firhill, 1 goal to the good. We'll get half-time reports from the guys at all the games just shortly. But here it's Rangers 2, Hibernian 0, and that has certainly brightened the mood around Ibrox. Just gives them that little bit more comfort as Yilmaz plays it back to Suter, about 35 yards from goal. It's a wonderful ball in, and it's only inches away from that far post. It was Raskan again, almost on the end of it, inside the penalty area. It's a terrific ball from Suter, this.
Yeah, he's about 35 yards out, and he just whipped a tremendous ball in, and Raskan, he must be inches away from that. Any contact there, I think that's the third goal. John Suter, though, good range of passing. What a cross that is.
I don't know if Raskin could have went with his head, you know, like it's looked like he was hungry for goals after he's getting his first one in Rangers colours, but he made a very good run at the middle of the box.
Half-time whistle goes at Ibrox, and the first 45 minutes under Philippe Clement have gone pretty well. Rangers have certainly been the dominant side, and crucially they got a relatively early breakthrough when Abdallah Sima buried an excellent shot low past David Marshall away to his right, and that was also where Nico Raskan's rasper from 30 yards ended up just before the interval, finding that bottom corner as well. And so at half-time at Ibrox, it's Rangers 2, Hibernian 0.
On digital radio,
FM,
online at BBC Sports Scotland,
your smart speaker,
and on BBC Sounds.
This is Sports Sound from BBC Radio Scotland.
There's no substitute.
So a terrific start for Philippe Clement, his first game as Rangers manager. 2-0 up there at home to Hibs. The goals coming from Abdallah Sima on 17 minutes, Nico Raskin on 45 minutes there. One other game in the top flight survived the weather today. That game is at Rugby Park. Kilmarnock against Livingston. There for us, Stephen Craigan.
Ken, I've got to say, riding here at Rugby Park this afternoon, I knew these teams were both evenly matched, and that's the way the game started off. It was a bit frenetic. Both sides were reluctant to take a touch. The ball was hit from back to front. It did eventually settle after 17 minutes when Kilmarnock got the opening goal. It was excellent hold-up play by Kyle Vassell right on the halfway line on the left-hand side, and Corey and Daba just made an overlapping run. It was a lovely little flick around the corner from Vassell, and Daba just bounded on down the left-hand side, put a first-time cross into the box. David Watson, arriving from midfield, had a swing with his left foot, missed it. Daniel Armstrong picked up at the back post, jinked in it on his favourite left foot, and via deflection the ball found its way past Shamal George. Then Kelly's tails were up, they were pushing, they were probing. Armstrong had a shot with his right foot, Vassell had a left-footed shot that just went past, and I think they then regretted those missed opportunities because Livy got a penalty 10 minutes before half-time. The ball was bouncing about in the 18-yard box. Mo Sangara and Brad Lyons both went to try and make contact. Sangara got there first, and Lyons didn't hold back. He actually kicked the back of the left foot of Sangara. Craig Napier pointed to the penalty spot. Up steps Sean Kelly. Al said it in commentary. He scored last time out against his brother Liam Kennelly with a penalty, and he'd done so this afternoon. Set Will Dennis the wrong way to make it 1-1. But that certainly didn't put Kilmarnock off. They came back for more, they absolutely did, and deservedly went back in front just 7 minutes later, 3 minutes before half-time. A free kick round about halfway between the halfway line and the Livingston goal mouth. Danny Armstrong, once again, the provider, a deep free kick. Davy Martindale will be really frustrated. None of his defenders managed to get close to Kyle Vassell. He just headed it past the hapless Shamal George in goal. So I think Davy Martindale's got a bit of work to do. Derek McInnes will be pleased. An entertaining first half. Let's hope there's plenty more in the second half. It's Kilmarnock 2, Livy 1.
Thank you to Stephen Craigan. So 2 games survived the weather in the top flight this afternoon, and at half-time Kilmarnock 2, Livingston 1, Rangers 2, Hibs 0. Also 2 games in the Championship for you. Let's get to East End Park. Dunfermline against Ayr United. There for us, Alan Preston.
For the half-time score, Kenny's Dunfermline out, Ayr United 1. Dunfermline had a chance in 2 minutes. McCann to the byline. cut it back. Whiten missed it completely, but it fell to the left back Edwards, who shot over, should have done better, but that was 2 minutes on the clock. The next 43 were all about Ayr United. They were brilliant. They took the lead in 10 minutes. McKenzie cut back, found Logan Chalmers, who's playing on the right, but on his left foot, first time shot, beat Mehmet, all ends up. Dowds then had a shot well saved by Mehmet, and Chalmers, who was causing absolute havoc on the right, cutting inside with a shot just wide of the target. 24 minutes on the clock. A really good move by Ayr. Found McKenzie one-on-one with the keeper who went round Mehmet, but forced wide, and that allowed Comrie to come back with a brilliant challenge, as the striker only had to roll the ball into the empty net. Then in 29 minutes, McKenzie got the break of the ball into the box, but he shot just wide. James McPake started with a back three, took his two midfield players, centre midfield players off, and one of them being his captain, both of them were dreadful in that opening period. He has to get back in the game. It's been all Ayr United. The game should be done, but the half-time score, Dunfermline 0, Ayr United 1.
Thank you to Alan Preston. So in the Championship today, Dunfermline 0, Ayr United 1, Partick Thistle 0, Dundee United 1. Elsewhere in Scotland at half-time, Alloa Athletic 1, Kelty Hearts 1, Annan Athletic 0, Queen of the South 1, Hamilton Accies 1, Edinburgh City 0, Stirling Albion 1, Falkirk 1, and in League 2, Bonnyrigg Rose 1, Clyde 2, East Fife 2, Stranraer 0, Spartans 0, Dumbarton 0, and in England the lunchtime kick-off finished. Liverpool 2, Everton 0, half-times Bournemouth 1, Wolves 0, Brentford 1, Burnley 0, Manchester City 2, Brighton 0, Newcastle United 3, Crystal Palace 0, and Nottingham Forest 0, Luton 0. 5:30 start, Chelsea at home to Arsenal. 8 o'clock, Sheffield United against Manchester United. Leanne, we've been listening to the commentary, watching the pictures coming in from Ibrox. I've written down a couple of things here. Better energy and better tempo about Rangers today.
Yeah, no, I would agree. Certainly more aggression, middle to front. I don't think they've certainly not spent as much time on the ball as what they previously had been doing in their own half. The turnovers have been a lot quicker, much more direct, looking to play into the front players a lot quicker, play off the front players. We've seen with the goals in terms of Sima. Defensively for Hibs it was poor. I would need to say Will Fish doesn't get a good contact on it, but Sima and the guys spoke about that in commentary. The pace, the direct play, the finish was top notch from him. And then Raskin, a player that gets the second goal, more often than not you've seen him play underneath the ball a lot of the time. He's that holding midfielder. At times you find him in and around the box, but he looks as if there's more instruction to be a threat on goal, and he could have probably added a second after he'd scored initially. So definitely more energy, and you would expect that. You would expect the Rangers players to give the Rangers manager and the fans a solid 45 minutes to get going. John Souttar, I know he had come back in for the St Mirren game, but still beggars belief for me that he was sat on the bench at any point during Michael Beale's tenure. Brilliant footballer.
Yeah, a very good first half performance from Rangers. Tom English is alongside our commentary team at Ibrox this afternoon. What have you made of that first half, Tom?
I think two brilliant goals, two fantastic finishes. Rangers dominant without doing a whole lot, to be honest. Yeah, definitely increased tempo and maybe increased aggression, but still a lot of ropey stuff, a lot of misplaced passes, miscommunication. But it's comfortable, you know. Hibs defensively suspect again. They want to watch it now because they could be on the end of a 3 or 4 if they're not careful. I think Rangers have been okay, Kenny. I wouldn't go overboard on them. I'd still look at Adessers, Lammers, and Wright. 3 of their main attacking function in this team are not good enough. Between the 3 of them, they played 38 games for Rangers this season, and between them they've scored 4 goals. It's just not good enough. And again, I don't think any of the 3 of them are doing it today. So, but notwithstanding, they're 2-0 up at half-time. Potentially tricky game. They're good. They're probably value for 2-0, but I haven't been blown away by them.
What about yourself, Lee McCulloch? What's different today from this Rangers team?
Actually, not that much, to be brutally honest. I think Tom's spot on. Actually, the Rangers have been more dominant. They've created more chances. They've had more balls in the Hibs box, but they've not really created any clear-cut chances. It's been pressure more than anything. That they've looked like scoring, but obviously not come through with it. The 2 goals Seema's goal, pace and power, great composed finish. I think that settled a little bit of nerves and apprehension round about the stadium. But Hibs were still in the game even after the first goal, hitting in the counter-attack. Rangers not really flamboyant, that's for sure. And then Raskin, what a time to score just before half-time. So that I think the half-time talk from Clermont will be a little bit different at 2-0 than what it would be at 1-0. Kenny made a great point earlier. The longer it goes on at 1-0, it's always so dangerous. I mean, the game's not done and dusted as we speak at 2-0, but you come out second half, I think the first 15 minutes will be vitally important.
So Rangers 2, Hibs 0, Kilmarnock 2, Livingston 1. We gave you the half-time scores from the Championship. Dunfermline 0, Ayr United 1, Partick Thistle 0, Dundee United 1. Let's get some detail on that game then at Firhill. There for us is Chick Young. You there, Chick? No, I've got some problems there on the line. It's a big game, isn't it, for Dundee United away at Partick Thistle. I'm sure Thistle have got designs, Leanne, you would think, on certainly making the playoffs this season. As things stand, Wraith Rovers not playing today. Their game is off. United 4 points clear of Rovers at the top of the table. Partick Thistle in third spot. It's going very well for Jim Goodwin's side.
It is, yeah. No, they've had a consistent start to the season, as we expected they would. Right back to that opening game against Arbroath. We spoke about it last weekend. I think the difference for them is the quality that they've got as well, middle to front. They've got real leaders, they've got players that have experienced the Championship before. That's what Jim Goodwin has built, a really strong Championship side. So you would expect that to continue, but take nothing away from the likes of Wraith Rovers, who have had a brilliant start to the season, and it'll twist and it'll turn. There'll be more drama between now and the end of the season. Of course it does. It only takes you to go in that solid run, 3-4 games, and drop a couple of points here and there, and opens things right up again. So, but no, absolutely, Dundee United top of the table and still out and out favourites for me.
Dreadful conditions for the game you covered on the BBC Scotland channel last night. Airdrie against Queen's Park. Where do you see these two finishing come the end of the season?
I think they've got the potential to be there and thereabouts. Definitely I think Airdrie, because I think they're a bit more switched on defensively. They're a bit more savvy when it comes to what's required, and listening to Rhys McCabe last night post-match as well, just speaking about how important that first round of fixtures have been for his side, being newly promoted, getting a feel and a gauge for where they're at, how they can go and compete against other teams within the division, who's in and around. They've put in good performances against Dundee United. They beat Wraith Rovers only a couple of weeks ago. Partick Thistle as well, they've beaten already. So I think now they've had a chance to feel it out. The second round of fixtures for them will be huge. Queen's Park, a bit of a project going on, in the sense that, we spoke last night about the goals that they've conceded, 19 in total. They'd conceded 9 in their last 3 games ahead of last night. A really young side. So if Robin Velman's going to persevere with the youth, you're probably going to need to accept that there's going to be spells throughout the season that they'll be inconsistent, but both sides have got the potential to be absolute playoff contenders. In Airdrie, Rhys McCabe said it, why would you enter a competition that you didn't hope to win? Absolutely, but the team to catch are Dundee United, and they're going very well this afternoon. Chick Young, give it 30 seconds to settle. Hey there, Chick. Is that you you're talking about? Are you there, Chick? We've got him back, but we're just listening to him.
He's playing to Guinness, is it? Give it 30 seconds to settle.
Eating his pie whilst he waits, Tom, I think.
I think we're better just cutting that line. There's problems clearly on the line there at Firhill. Dundee United in control of that game. Actually, just some sad news, Tom, coming through. Sir Bobby Charlton has passed away at the age of 86. Really sad news, just 3 years after he revealed a diagnosis of dementia in 2020. Just reading the tributes here, many people saying considered one of the greatest footballers of all time, part of the England squad, which of course won the World Cup.
An amazing footballer. What a Manchester United from top to toe. Kind of almost dragged England to that World Cup final in '66. An immense player. Munich air disaster, survived it. Just his life and times were just extraordinary. His relationship with his brother Jack, also gone, was one of the most intriguing, fascinating, inspirational, sad, every emotion in the book, relationships you can get between two brothers in football. Just an amazing man. What a life. What an incredible life.
Yeah, tremendous footballer, Chick Young. Sir Bobby saying here he started his youth career with United way back in 1953. Played in the first team at the age of 18. Just saying, Chick, confirmed now that he's passed away at the age of 86. Very sad news. A terrific footballer.
You can go through this entire football country, the home nations, and I don't think you'll find one person with a bad word to say about Bobby Charlton. I can't honestly say that England were always my favourite international football team, but he was an absolute gentleman, part of the Trinity, of course, with Dennis Law and George Best at Manchester United. That wonderful statue outside Old Trafford, and the Scotland players that I knew, every one of them said that such a gentleman. I remember I've spoken to Dennis Law on many occasions. He talked very, very warmly at all times about Bobby. Robert, he sometimes called him. Of course, Tom talked about the dynasty there with his brother. Imagine two brothers playing in a World Cup winning team. And also he was the Jackie Milburn relationship from the northeast of England as well. The whole family were football crazy, and such a talent, such a gentleman. What a striker of a football Bobby Charlton was. I remember watching the World Cup in '66, not hoping that these shots would go in, but my goodness, you just had to be a fan of football to appreciate that gift he had. He had a thunderous shot, and adored and appreciated by people like Pelé as well. Another one of the diamonds of my time on this planet watching football that I'll always remember with great warmth and affection. An absolute gentleman. Sad loss. Yeah, he passed away at the age of 86 today. Chick, just in terms of the game you are watching there at Firhill, United deserving of their half-time advantage? Just about. They were certainly in command earlier in the game. There was a problem for Thistle early on. After about 27 minutes, Wes McDonald came on to replace Aidan Fitzpatrick, who went down with an injury. And I have to say, at one point, Glenn Middleton was giving Kieran Ngwenya an absolute tormented time, but he stuck with the task. He's an interesting player. He gets forward. He's a bit of an athlete. He's like a gazelle going forward. Middleton was taking him apart for a while, but he's kind of got a grips with it and added a new dimension to Thistle getting forward down their right hand side. It's a very interesting game. We're a couple of minutes into the second half now, Kenny. It remains 1-0, and I apologise, I think I said earlier on it was 1-0 the Jags. It's 1-0 against the Jags. Dundee United. Craig Sibbald with the goal after 12 minutes. It was a corner on the right side for Middleton. There was a very slack marking from Thistle. It came all the way across, and it was a brilliant straight touch by Sibbald. Then he drove it into the net. It's 1-0 to Dundee United.
Thank you to Chick Young. We'll bring you all the news and goals from right across the country. Time now, though, to sit back and enjoy the second half action. It's Rangers against Hibs with Lee McCullough, Kenny Miller and Alistair Lamont.
Thanks again, Kenny. Hibernian about to get us back underway in this second period. The sun's still out in Govan. Most of the pitch, though, completely in shadow. And Rangers, good value for their lead at the interval. Still a long way short of the finished article, though. Hibernian will look to do more in the second period, as they did, of course, at Tynecastle a couple of weeks back. Certainly not beyond them, but they do need more from the likes of Martin Boyle and Eli Yuan. But with those pair and Venta and Lafondra up front, they clearly have a threat as they try to play out from the back once more, and Hanlon just squeezes the ball to Obita before Scott Wright can close him down, as Hibs now come forward down the left hand side. It is Eli Yuan who got his first league goals of the season within 83 seconds of each other in that comeback at Tynecastle. Can they mount something similar at Ibrox this afternoon? It's a wonderful cross-field ball from Newell out to Miller on the right-hand side now, up against Sima, trying to take him on. Sima with a good challenge and manages almost to keep it in, but not quite, and it will be a throw-in to Hibernian, well inside the Rangers half on the right-hand side, and it's going to be another opportunity for Lewis Miller to launch it into the penalty area as forward come Fish and Hanlon from the back to try and get on the end of it and try and give them a foothold in the game. in it comes from Miller. Hanlon goes to try and attack it, he misses it. Does come through to Lafondre, who tries to curl it goalwards, no way through though, and Tavernier gets the ball out to this near side now for a throw-in. No changes for either side at the interval, incidentally. Rangers had to bring on Yilmaz early on for Barisic because of an injury, but otherwise there haven't been any further changes since then, as Obita prepares to take this throw-in midway inside the Rangers half. On the left-hand side as Hibs come forward, they're going back the way, and it's Hanlon playing it square midway inside his own half to Fish up to the halfway line, allowed to advance. Then Sima sticks the foot in, wins the ball back temporarily. Dessers has done likewise on the halfway line. He was being dragged back there by Miller. Referee lets it go with Sima still in possession for Rangers, going down that left hand side. He's absolutely electric, gets to the byline. Lammers trying to get on the end of it. Obita knocks it clear only as far as Lundstrom at the edge of the penalty area. Out to the right hand side for Tavernier, looking to take on Yuan. It comes off the Hibs winger and it's behind for an early corner in this second half to Rangers, who lead by 2-0.
Yeah, and again Hibs just continuing. Again they're playing their part in their own downfall. Will Fish trying to dribble out, losing the ball inside the Rangers half and having to track 60 yards all the way back to your own goal rather than just passing it to your fullback or your midfielder.
Tavernier then from the right hand side as Rangers look to extend their advantage even further. Goldson was in there, I think he got something on it, but Marshall keeps it in. It might have come off a Hibs player last actually, but Marshall kept it in any case and bowls it out underarm to Venta, but he can't keep it. Goldson puts pressure on him. Tavernier now finds Raskan, the scorer of the second goal. Here's Dessers about 30 yards from goal to the right hand side for Scott Wright, up against Obita into the penalty area for Lammers, gets turned on the spin. Oh, he's just wide a goal from Sam Lammers. That's much better from him. Gets turned, gets the shot away for a couple of yards wide, and it remains Rangers 2, Hibernian 0.
Yeah, good touch there for Lammers in the box. He just managed to roll his man on his right foot just outside the far post to make it 3-0 there. He's unlucky. I actually thought there was a change in his body language just with the first time he pressed the ball in the second half there, as if maybe the managers dug him out a little bit, saying we need a little bit more from you. He looked energetic in the press. He's done okay there. He's just a little bit unlucky. It'll be interesting to see how it unfolds for him in the second half.
If Hibs continued playing that way and just turning the ball over in their own half, losing the ball, it's only, I think Tom English saying at half time, it's going to be a 3 or 4 because they can't continually give the ball up in their own half like that.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it pre-match, Kenny, in terms of the shape that Hibs are playing, a 4-4-2. You don't see too many teams playing that way these days. Nick Montgomery seems committed to it, but it has given Rangers the extra man in the middle of the park, hasn't it?
It has, and again, it's like the one thing with I applaud them trying to play out and not just want to kick the ball back to Rangers, but you have to be better. You know, you can't turn it over the way they've done. They can't have centre backs trying to drive through midfield lines and losing the ball and then getting countered on. You know, they have. It's 2-0 down. They're going to have to show a lot more in the second half if they want to get back into it. They're facing a different proposition as well here at Ibrox than what they did at Tynecastle a couple of weeks ago as well. And I think it's important that they try and get these offensive players, these dangerous players on the ball. Ellie Yuan, get him 1v1 v Tavernier. Martin Boyle, get him on the other side against Yilmaz. That's where they can get joy, and that's where they could potentially get back into this game. Martin Boyle needs a bit of treatment though, because Sam Lammers has caught him here and he's been booked for his troubles, and he just stands on the outside of his left foot. Lammers, and certainly merited the yellow card, and Hibs will hope that Martin Boyle can recover from this knock and get back on his feet and try and influence the game, because he can certainly be influential for Hibs. It's his 21st game against Rangers for Hibernian. He's only won 3 of those. It certainly was his influence in that League Cup semi-final that knocked Rangers out a couple of years back, as Nick Montgomery is in discussion down there with David Gray, who had his testimonial during the international break. He was against a Man United select and rightfully honoured as a great servant to Hibernian. Boyle is back up on his feet, doesn't look entirely comfortable, but hopefully can run that off as Hanlon plays it into the middle of the park for Diego. Back with Hanlon, left hand side, midway inside his own half. Big switch out to Miller on the right hand side, just chests that down for Fish.
51 on the clock. Rangers 2, Hibernian 0. Flighted forward, but Goldson reads that and heads it down for Wright, midway inside his own half, nudges it forward. He was caught late, but Rangers continue with Lammers in possession. Forward for Dessers. Dessers tracked there all the way by Hanlon. Dessers hits the deck, but again play continues. That's a slack pass from Tavernier though, trying to find Lundstrom, and Ewan's won it for Hibernian. Lundstrom goes out in the challenge. That's going to be a free kick to Hibs. He caught Ewan late, and free kick goes Hibernian's way. Scott Wright still feeling the effects of the earlier challenge on him. All a little bit scrappy just at the moment. Beta picks up possession from the quickly taken free kick by Newell. Hibs haven't really been able to make an impact in the game thus far. A couple of threats on the counter, but nothing substantial. Here's Boyle, who looks to be moving freely enough. He's stopped in his tracks though by Raskan. Newell picks up on the halfway line, prods it forward to Miller. Miller forced back the way though by Raskan. Jago picks up just inside his own half and plays it, looking for Hanlon, but Wright's there first, and he snipped it away from Hanlon. Scott Wright into the penalty area, tries to pick out Dessers, and it's straight at David Marshall. It was neither really a shot or a piece of control from Dessers. I think Wright might have been trying to play it to Seema at the back post, but either way ends up in the arms of David Marshall, and with 52 and a half on the clock, it's still Rangers 2, Hibs 0.
I think, Lee, you're going to need to talk about how many times Hibs are going to turn the ball away, because I'm getting sick fed up with saying it. That's a square pass for James Jago trying to find Paul Hanlon that almost put Scott Wright through 1v1 with the goalkeeper.
They have been very slack. They're showing. Look at this.
That's terrible from Marshall. Lundstrom from 40 yards. Oh, he gets it all wrong. May have been more than 40 yards. The keeper was well out of his goal, but Lundstrom could not connect.
I'm going to start beating the same drum as Kenny. Hibs have been, when they're playing out for the back, they're showing intent. At times they get away with it, but I can't believe how they keep trying it and how slack they've been. The ball went back to David Marshall there. He's tried a clearance. He's about 30 yards out for his goal. It's fell to Lundstrom just inside the half, and really he should do better there.
I don't know what was worse. Was the pass out or the attempt at goal?
It's not been a good advert the last couple of minutes for the Scottish game, put it that way.
Marshall again playing it out into the feet of Lafondra this time. It falls one back by Rangers. Lammers plays it forward. Wright, I don't think he was the target, but he brings it under control and then finds Raskin in and out to the left hand side for Yilmaz. Forward for Seema now. He's got a couple of options in the box in Lammers and Dessers. Can he pick either out? Lammers heads it down, looking for Dessers. Back to Lammers. Oh, it's off the post. Oh, looked destined for the back of the net, but Lammers puts his head in his hands as it comes back off the upright, and it remains 2-0 with Rangers threatening the third goal. He's Lundstrom forward for Dessers. He can't bring it under control, and Hibs come forward through Obita. Jago almost gives it away as well. Newell picks up for Hibernian. Left hand side, tries to clip it forward. It's off the outside of his boot, straight out, and Nick Montgomery must be pulling his hair out there. Hibs are giving the ball away left, right and centre.
It's a catalogue of errors, as the saying goes. It's centre half there, it might have been Fish, just
Hanlon.
I don't actually know what he's doing. He should just clear the ball. Then the ball falls to Lammers, maybe 6-7 yards out, half of the goal to hit, and he hits the post and misses it with his right foot. It should be 3-0 to Rangers, definitely.
Yeah, it would have been game over surely. Here come Rangers again. Raskin asking too much of Yilmaz there as Lewis Miller slides in to win it back. Raskin though picks up again. But if Rangers don't go on and take all 3 points, then they will only have themselves to blame, because they've passed up a couple of really good opportunities in the last few minutes. Here's Dessers up against Hanlon. Hanlon though there first, and knocks it out of play. Quickly taken, throw in by Scott Wright into Tavernier at the edge of the penalty area, right hand side, tries to get it beyond Obita, comes off Obita though, and out for a throw in down near the corner flag on Rangers right hand side. Played 55 minutes, still Rangers 2, Hibernian 0, but perhaps should have been more if Rangers had been more clinical. Ewan trying to get away from Scott Wright down on the Hibernian left. Back he goes to Obita, deep in his own territory, clips that up towards Lefondre, but it's over him and Goldson brings it under control. Suter takes a poor first touch and then lofts it out towards Yilmaz. He plays it forward to Sima, cross comes Fish and knocks it out of play before Sima can advance. Throw in Rangers, quickly taken back to Suter, and now Goldson just inside his own half. Out to the right hand side onto the chest of Tavernier, who lofts it forward. Scott Wright, I think he may have been played on by Will Fish, and he's got a big chance here, right hand side of the box, slides it across goal. Good recovery there from Fish as Scott Wright tried to pick out Dessers in the middle, and Hibs survive once more. But they are playing a dangerous game. They're so open at the back.
They're all over the place, Alistair. Just on the other side there, Lewis Miller's rushing out. He's leaving Sima standing in behind him. Will Fish has to cover. The exact same happens 10 seconds later on the other side of the pitch. Obita comes towards Tavernier, the left back to the right back, and just leaves the right winger and Scott Wright standing behind him. Tavernier just hooks over his head and Scott Wright's through and goal. Hibs are absolutely all over the place. This should be 3 or 4-0. Simple. Obviously a change coming now, bringing Todd Cantwell, and Rangers fans will be happy to see him back.
Yeah, you'd think so. Rangers have missed his craft and vision in the middle of the park, and certainly his energy as well. Hasn't played since a knee injury against Celtic, and Scott Wright, who's requiring a bit of treatment there, is going to be replaced by Todd Cantwell. And well, Wright's been okay, but probably no better than okay, Lee.
Yeah, he's got so much more to offer than what he's offered today. He's got pace, he's got power, he can cross the ball, he can go at people. I just feel he's not played for a long time. I'm cutting him some slack here. He's not played for a long time. His confidence seems to me it's shot to pieces, and the only way to get it back is go out on the pitch, play, take the ball and do the simple things.
Hibs have it, but Newell, the latest to run into trouble. Lundstrom plays it forward. Dessers making the most of a fairly solidly hit pass from Lundstrom, and couldn't quite find Lammers though. But Rangers have it back once more. Sima, good play down the left hand side, away from one challenge, as Lewis Miller for company goes back the way to Yilmaz, midway inside the Hibs half into Cantwell. First touch for him. You heard in the background the applause and cheers for him as he came on for his first appearance since that defeat by Celtic. Goldson almost giving it away, but Raskin recovers well for him. We will go to Firhill in just a moment, but here's Cantwell, edge of the penalty area for Sima, into the box for Yilmaz, who's well advanced. He goes down under the challenge of Hanlon, who manages to clear his lines. Boyle then stopped in his tracks by Raskin. Sima looking for Lammers, who was on his heels, and away comes Fish. It's good composed defending on that occasion from the on loan Man United man. Forced back the way once more though to Miller. Miller comes away from Sima, plays it infield to Joe Newell, back to Hanlon on the edge of his own penalty area. Obita now up towards the halfway line. Forward it goes to Lefondre. Forward ball, Tavernier cuts that one out, which gives us a chance to get to Firhill and Chick Young.
Missed a lot of drama here, Alistair. It's now 3-0 to Dundee United, and I'll tell you what, the second goal of the afternoon from Kevin Holt is a tribute act to the great Bobby Charlton. Sir Bobby himself would have been proud of the strike. 30 yards, he absolutely seared it into the corner.
Be taking place, but let's get to Rugby Park. There's been a goal there.
Yeah, there has been, Alistair. It's now 3-1 to Kilmarnock. Kyle Vassell with the second goal of the afternoon. He almost scored about 10 seconds before it crossed Danny Armstrong, smashed it off the crossbar, ball recycled. David Watson put it in. Brilliant run on head at the near post beyond Sean Kelly, and Shamal George had to pick it out of the net. 3-1 Kelly.
And Dylan Levitt coming on for Jimmy Jago to try and make some sort of impact on the hour mark. Levitt immediately on the ball and flights it to the back post. A good ball, Miller heads it down. Suter gets it behind for a Hibs corner. Almost an immediate impact there by Dylan Levitt, and Hibs will have the corner kick.
Levitt on maybe to secure possession a little bit more. His first touch there, he's hit a 60-yard diagonal. That's a terrific ball. They've gained a corner from it. They'll need to get somebody round about him that he certainly can play if given time on the ball.
So corner kick to Hibs, right in front of their band of supporters over there on the far side. Joe Newell left-footed from the right, flights it in. Sima with a good header clear as far as Levitt, about 30 yards out. It's a poor touch and a poor pass, although Sima can't quite gather it, and Boyle recovers, and Hibs have it back through Newell, right hand side for Hibernian, about 35 yards from goal. Now Yuan over on that right hand side. Yilmaz though gets back to win possession for Rangers, knocks it out of play for a Hibernian throw in, just a few yards from the corner flag over on the right hand side as they come forward. And well, everyone knows that 2-0 down, if you can get the next goal, it's a very different game, and you would imagine the nerves would begin to jangle slightly around Ibrox if Hibernian could force their way back into this contest. Here's Lewis Miller with another long throw in into the penalty area. Lammers has missed it. Yuan tries to get his head to it, and here come Rangers down the right hand side as they clear the lines, and Cantwell picks up, comes forward across the halfway line, tries to flick it forward for Dessers, but Dessers simply doesn't have the pace to try and get on to the end of that type of pass, and Hibs managed to get it clear. Yuan forces it down the left hand side, but no opportunity for Lafonza to get there, and Goldson knocks it back.
I think that's 4 long throws at Lewis Miller, and 3 of which Rangers have not dealt with. Every one of them has either been a first contact for Hibs or nobody's got it and it's landing in the middle of your box. They need to deal with these types of situations better. Because this is at the moment, it looks like Hibs' only real threat at the moment is just kind of either throwing bodies into the box meaningly or just getting long throws or set plays.
Yilmaz threads it forward looking for Sima. Lewis Miller slides in, stops him momentarily, but Sima's done well. Then he goes down, and it's going to be a free kick to Rangers down near the corner flag, and I think a yellow card for the Australian right back. Bundled Sima to the ground there. Sima tried to keep going but couldn't quite regain his footing, and so it'll be a Rangers free kick in a good area down near the corner flag on the left hand side. 2-0 they lead. 62.5 on the clock.
Sima there with his pace again. He has a definite threat when he opens his legs up and commits people. I know he can be safe at times and cut inside and take the easy option, but he looks a real threat when he opens his legs up. Defenders just can't handle it.
So Rangers free kick on the left hand side. Tavernier and Yilmaz both over this one. The Hibernian 2-man walls lined up right on the edge of the box on the right hand side for them. Rangers left the free kick just a few yards in from the touchline, a few yards away from the goal line. It's Tavernier to curl it in. It's well headed away by Fish as far as Cantwell, midway inside the Hibernian half. He goes back to Raskin on the halfway line as Rangers start again. Now Lundstrom, right hand side, across comes Levitt. Lundstrom into the feet of Lammers, about 30 yards from goal, gets turned one way then the other, plays it back to Raskin at the edge of the centre circle, and then back out to the right hand side for Lundstrom. Rangers coming forward down the right into Cantwell. He's looked lively in the few minutes he's been on the park. Out to Tavernier, right hand side again, back with Lundstrom. Rangers just keeping the ball for now. Goldson on the halfway line, and it's back with Lundstrom once more. He advances a few yards, plays it infield to the feet of Lammers for Dessers. Big chance, he's round the keeper. Can he finish it off? Second time Vasquez blocked on the line. Breaks for Sima. Goal Rangers. Goal Sima. Still Cyril Dessers can't find it. Way to finish, but Sima does it for him. It's Rangers 3, Hibernian 0.
Yeah, great play there. I think it's Todd Cantwell with a slip pass in behind the defence, and it's Dessers with a 1-on-1. I was thinking, just hit the target. He took it round the goalkeeper. The ball's caught under his feet. It's a difficult one, and I thought it was a stonewall handball as well. I'm just watching it again. Sorry, that's what the pause is. Stonewall handball on the line, but Sima, ball just behind him, turns, half volley, amazing technique, and he's put it in the top corner to make it 3.
Yeah, it's a great finish again by a man who is fully confident, but Cyril Dessers just can't buy a goal. I think it would have been a penalty for the handball by Paul Hanlon and blocking Dessers' second effort. I mean, he shows decent composure to go round David Marshall, but he just can't get a slice of luck. But Abdallah Sima wasn't hanging around waiting for the referee to decide whether it was a penalty or not, and he smashed it in for his 9th goal of the season. And surely now the game is done and dusted. Rangers 3, Hibernian 0. Kenny Miller.
Yeah, and it's no more than deserve. I mean, they've not been great in the second half, but they've been a real threat.
Here's Yuan though at the other end, looking to reduce the deficit once more. Goldson just uses his strength to show him away from goal, and out comes Jack Butland to dive on the ball. And the Rangers fans enjoying what they're seeing now. 3-0 they lead as Philippe Clement's regime begins with what looks like a victory. Let's head to Rugby Park to hear from Stephen Craigan once more and see how things are going there.
Yeah, I've got to say, Kilmarnock have deservedly been leading this game now by 3-1. And the big difference has been Kyle Vassell. His link-up play, his hold-up play. He had an involvement in the first goal. He got himself a second and a third. So Livingston haven't been able to cope with him. But for some smart saves by Shamal George, they could have been further ahead. But still is Kilmarnock 3, Livy 1.
Thanks, Stephen. 3-0 Rangers here as Hibs prepare to make, I think, a triple change coming up from Nick Montgomery. They have been second best here this afternoon. They barely laid a glove on Rangers, who weren't quite there for the taking, but certainly there would have been nerves around Ibrox kick-off, but they have been dispelled, and Rangers look like they're going to run out comfortable winners. 3-0 they lead with still a quarter of the game to play as Raskan spreads the ball out to the left-hand side for Sima. Looked like a handball there in the control. Plays it forward for Yilmaz as the referee allows play to continue. Breaks back for Cantwell. That's blocked. And eventually Don Robertson does blow for a free kick inside the penalty area to Hibernian. Yilmaz protests. But here comes that triple change for Hibernian as Tavares, Bashiri and Whittaker are poised to come on. Lefondre is the first player to make way. Hanlon will also come off and give the armband to Joe Newell, and Lewis Miller also trotting off, which gives us a chance to get to the couple of championship games. We haven't heard from Alan Preston in a while at Dunfermline against Ayr United.
It's still 1-0 Ayr United, Alison. An unbelievable piece of action a minute ago. It's an effort by Summers. His shot for Dunfermline's clipped onto the post by the keeper. As the goalie's lying on the ground, you think just knock it into the empty net. It takes a touch, which allows the keeper Albinson to get up. He made a brilliant second save. Ayr United still 1-0 up.
And Chick Young's at Firhill watching Partick Thistle against Dundee United.
I think I can echo everything you've said about Rangers and Hibs to apply to Dundee United against Thistle. Dundee United will be top of the table again tonight, but actually turned Thistle over. Magnificent 3-0 lead they have. Thistle all over the place at the moment. They rattled the crossbar a few moments ago. Could have been 4, but the pick of the afternoon, this Bobby Charlton, on the day we lost Sir Bobby. What a goal from Kevin Holt. It was a tribute act. It was classic Charlton. He rattled it and it seared into the back of the Partick Thistle. Jamie said not a chance to get that, and Dundee United all over Thistle now, and Partick Thistle trailing Dundee United, who will be the continuing league leaders tonight, by 3-0.
Thanks, Chick. Same scoreline here at Ibrox to the home side though, with 2 goals from Abdallah Sima and 1 from Nico Raskan, as them looking very comfortable. They're good value for that 3-0 advantage, Kenny Miller.
Yeah, they are, and I don't think they've not absolutely tore Hibs apart and played through them. They've just been playing in Hibs half and waiting on Hibs to turn the ball over, and then they've shown really good pace and composure in certain moments on the transition. They could have had so many more goals. Don't know what happened there, but they could have had so many more opportunities to actually extend that lead and be more than 3-0 up. So real comfortable performance for Rangers, and again it's just good to see, obviously Cantwell's getting on and getting them minutes. It might be nice to see Ruth come on, Danilo, and getting these guys minutes as well, because a lot of games coming up over this next month.
Yeah, next for Rangers is Sparta Prague away in the Europa League, looking to do better than they did in Limassol. Here's Goldson picking up for Rangers. Thought he was going to go for goal from about 50 yards there for a second, but thought better of it. He's taking the ball down the right hand side and eventually plays it off Abita. The applause from the home fans, who have a smile on their collective faces this afternoon. There haven't been too many of those in recent weeks around the club, but perhaps things taking a turn for the better under Philippe Clement. Here's Raskin into the feet of Dessers, back to Cantwell, edge of the box, gets the shot off straight into the arms of David Marshall as Rangers look for a fourth goal. 70 minutes in, Rangers 3, Hibernian 0.
That's a great move, great attacking move for Rangers there. I think now you can see the confidence starting to slowly come back in. The way at times they're passing the ball, albeit Kenny Miller makes a great point. I think the game has been more so Hibs' failure to play out, being slack in possession, giving Rangers opportunity. Don't get me wrong, Rangers have been good, but Hibs, for me today, have been really, really poor in possession, out of possession. I think the big plus point for Hibs is that the youngster Whittaker's come on to get his, I think it's his second or third appearance, and it's a great place for him to get on and experience.
Yeah, just 16 years old, the right back coming on. You're right, third appearance for Hibernian, but it's tough also coming on at 3-0 down. Nothing, I suppose, massively expected of him, but good experience nonetheless. Here's Tavernier into the penalty area looking for Dessers, just slightly behind him. Hibs get it clear. 3-0 Rangers lead with still 18.5 minutes left on the clock as Cantwell goes into the back of Obita. He's late on him. Obita goes down clutching the back of his head. The free kick goes Hibernian's way just at the edge of their own penalty area. Hasn't been a good afternoon for Nick Montgomery and his side, and their unbeaten record under their new manager is definitely going to fall by the wayside. It's their first defeat in 7 all told, and they will need to recover quickly with Celtic, the visitors, a week today to Easter Road. Of course, Celtic in Edinburgh tomorrow as well. That'll be live on Sports Sound for you. Tynecastle, Hearts against Celtic. The only Premiership game tomorrow is Hibs about to make another change. It's Christian Doidge coming on for Dylan Venta, who's among many others, Kenny, this afternoon hasn't been able to get into the game from a Hibernian perspective.
No, he's not, but I think his best moments kind of came 2 or 3 spells in the first half where he did actually set Boyle through for a counter-attack. Again, they've just not got into the Rangers half in the second half. Rangers have been so comfortable. They've played the majority of the game in Hibs' half. They've been on the front foot. They've been pretty much just kind of attacking at will from Hibs turnovers. So you've not really seen the best of your Johans, your Boyles, your Ventage, your Lafondras. The players that are actually real threats and good footballers and have got pace and have got a threat about them. Rangers have completely nullified, or I would say Hibs have actually nullified that themselves by turning it over too many times in their own half.
Little flick from Lammers looking for Raskin, but Hibs have pinched it, and here's Obita coming up towards the halfway line, left hand side. Hibernian looks for the run of Tavares, but opts against playing the pass, and then it's played forward by Newell. Doidge lets it run beyond him and all the way through to Jack Butland, as we learn that there's 49,535 inside Ibrox this afternoon, and the vast majority of those pretty pleased at what they've seen. No doubt Philippe Clement did warn that he wasn't expecting a perfect performance from Rangers, and it certainly hasn't been perfect, but enough to be satisfied with, you would imagine, and you can't complain at 3 goals up with 16 minutes to play, because there's certainly been poorer performances at Ibrox from the home side over the course of this season so far. Here's Suter bringing the ball forward for Rangers up towards the halfway line. Doidge trying to get back at him, he just goes into the back of him. It'll be a free kick to Rangers on the halfway line. That 3-goal advantage, and Rangers hold over Hibernian will extend to 20 league games now. It's the longest run they've ever gone unbeaten in the league against Hibernian since 1912 to 1922, would you believe, as Sima comes forward on the left hand side. Can't dig out the cross though, and it's behind for a Hibernian goal kick. And Philippe Clement down there patrolling his technical area. He looks a pretty imposing and intense figure, Lee McCulloch, and nonetheless he'll be pretty pleased on the whole with what he's seen from his side so far.
Yeah, I think he will be. In your first game, I think it's just about getting the victory. They've played well today. Obviously, they've still got a bit to go, but I'm just looking at Hibs here. Sorry, I'll go back to your point. The Hibs have been dreadful, passing out for the back at times, and playing into Rangers hands a little bit, but get back to Philippe Clement. Yeah, he's not, doesn't seem an emotional guy. He looks very serious when you see him on the sideline.
Here's Yuan inside the penalty area. Those won it for Tavares now. Quickly closed down by Lundstrom. Tavernier's there, but Obita heads it back into the Rangers penalty. Tavernier there once more. Obita again helping it forward. Boyle has it left hand side, checks back away from Lundstrom, but Tavernier's there to cover, and it's played out to the right hand side. A wonderful bit of control from Cantwell, who's then dragged back by Newell right in front of the referee, and Joe Newell will go into the referee's notebook. A bit of frustration there from Joe Newell, but it was a wonderful bit of skill from Todd Cantwell.
It sure was. It was a wonderful touch. It just looked like it was going to be over, hit the pass for Goldson, and it was just going to go out for a throw, but he managed to find his way up and bring it under his spell. You know, I think he's been a positive coming on in this last kind of half an hour of the game, 25 minutes of the game. He's I think Rangers are a different team when he plays well, because his movement and attack is very, very good.
Forward coming Bernie, and it's Doige on the right hand side. Might just have been marginally offside, but the ball is allowed to come in from the right. Assistant keeps his flag down, so he obviously felt he wasn't off, as Rangers do clear their lines though.
Real chance here.
He looked offside to me.
Yeah, it's Doig breaking down the right. It's a good ball in. Butland does well, and it nearly boiled a tap in at the back post.
Here's Whittaker into the penalty area as Goldson's forced into evasive action and just knocks that one behind. Looks like it's a throw in. Don Robertson's signalling right down at the corner flag on Hibernian's left. 3-0 they trail with 13 minutes of the 90 left. We'll get an update on the League One and League Two scorelines in just a moment or two from Kenny McIntyre, but Hibs have taken the throw in quickly. It's Obita going back the way to Levitt. Levitt plays it forward for Newell, back the way though onto the halfway line for young Whittaker, and out to Bashiri, who noticed a fellow Belgian of Philippe Clement's had a word with the Rangers manager pre-match. Here's Newell with Whittaker once more, right hand side, plays it forward as Hibernian try and somehow get themselves back into the contest. You'd think that's a forlorn hope just at this stage, and I can tell that a number of their fans have drifted away already. David Marshall has the ball, so let's get back to the studio and hear from Kenny about the scorelines around the country.
In League One, Alloa 3, Kelty Hearts 1, Annan Athletic 0, Queen of the South 1, Hamilton Accies 1, Edinburgh City 1, Stirling Albion 1, Falkirk 1, and in League 2, Bonnyrigg 3, Clyde 2, East Fife 3, Stranraer 0, Spartans 1, Dumbarton 0, and in England this afternoon, the lunchtime kick-off, a good win for Liverpool over Everton, Bournemouth 1, Wolves 1, Brentford 2, Burnley 0, Man City 2, Brighton 1, Newcastle United 4, Crystal Palace 0, Nottingham Forest 2, Luton 0.
Decent chance for Yuan there at the back post after he was picked out by Tavares, but he got his shot all wrong, much to the delight of the majority of the fans around Ibrox. Chick Young, you've got news of a red card, I think?
Well, I've got more news of a red card and another goal. It's Partick Thistle's afternoon is turning to miserable. Aaron Muirhead, second yellow card, adds up to red. He was sent off. They're down to 10 men, and Dundee United have just scored a fourth. It was Holt with his second of the afternoon, a tap in. I think, I'm not sure he knew much about it, almost on the line, came off him into the back of the net. 5,120.
It's 4-0 to Rangers, and at last Ariel Dessers has the goal he's been searching for. It was played in beautifully by Todd Cantwell, and he took his time before calmly rolling it into the bottom left-hand corner of David Marshall's net. It's Rangers 4, Hibernian 0.
That's been a long time coming, let's say. Cantwell gets it half-turn, lovely slip pass. Dessers, you've got to say, great composure. He takes a touch, he looks up at where Marshall is and just slides it into the bottom corner. He's finished that like a striker that's full of confidence. I don't think he's played like it today, but what a finish, and I think you can tell with the reaction for the fans that they're delighted to eventually see him score.
And you know, that pass for Cantwell, it looks like he's just waiting for James Tavernier to come and support, and the three Hibs players go with it and they buy it, and he just reverses a pass into Dessers. All he needs to do is take a touch out of his feet and slot it in the goal. Listen, it's his last action of the day. He'll be absolutely delighted now with that goal.
Yeah, it's his fourth goal of the season as he's replaced by Danilo, the masked man. And also coming on is Ross McCausland for Sam Lammers for the final 10 minutes. Lammers gets a word in the ear from Philippe Clement. It's be interesting to hear what he's saying to him. It's
brilliant to see young McCausland coming on as well. It'll be interesting to see if Rangers will be trying to promote the youth a little bit more, because I think they have got a couple of players.
Back goes John Suter to see off the danger.
Yeah, it's good to see the young boys coming on a little bit for Hibs as well, like young Whittaker. Albeit Rangers have brought him on, the game's a bit done now at 4-0, 10 minutes to go. But it's a great experience for him, young McCausland, sorry.
Yeah, he's come on a fair amount in the last 2 or 3 weeks as the Hibs come forward looking for a consolation, but Golson determined to preserve the clean sheet, blocking Christian Doidge's attempted cross behind for a corner. And Cyril Dessers with a first goal since scoring a rather fortuitous effort against Motherwell here. First goal in 5 games, and boy did he need that. But he did, as Lee said, took it with real calmness, rolling it in after he played in brilliantly by Cantwell. Here's Levitt, left hand side, straight into the arms of Jack Butland. 81, almost 82 played, and Rangers really cruising to victory. 4-0 they lead as Cantwell and Sima link on the left hand side. In steps Levitt though to win it back for Hibernian, be urged forward by their manager Nick Montgomery. Here's Doidge now in the halfway line, plays it to Whittaker coming forward on the right hand side for Hibs. The teenage fullback allowed to advance, plays a deep ball in, no Hibernian player there. Obita will try and make something of it. McCausland though goes back and wins it, and plays it to Tavernier, and then gets on the end of the clip ball forward from his captain. McCausland looks up, he's got Danilo ahead of him, tries to play him in, but Bashiri was there instead, and he plays it back to David Marshall, who's had to pick the ball out of his net 4 times, a couple of times in each half, as Rangers narrow the gap for 24 hours or thereabouts at least on Hearts to 4 points before their trip to Tynecastle tomorrow. As Tavares picks up for Hibernian. Penalty for Hill. Chick, who's it for?
Well, surprise, surprise, Dundee United the threshold of their 5th goal of the afternoon. It was Tony Watt who was brought down inside the box, no doubt about it. They were tearing Thistle apart. They're leading by 4 goals to 0 in front of 5,120 fans, and the United ones, of course, happiest of all. And I think it's going to be Kevin Holt stepping up to get his hat-trick this afternoon. He scored a wonder goal, a tap-in, and now a penalty kick, which he will take with the left foot, steps up and blasts it into the corner. It's Dundee United 5 goals ahead of Partick Thistle at Firhill, and it's a hat-trick for Kevin Holt.
Thanks, Chick. Todd Cantwell's going down under a challenge from Rocky Bashiri, and he's stayed down, and the Rangers fans collectively holding their breath, hoping that's not a recurrence of the injury picked up, although he's just holding his head actually. I think that's more the reason why he's stayed down rather than anything in that heavily strapped thigh of his. He's back on his feet, just rubbing the back of his head after the attentions of the Belgian defender Bashiri. He looks to be fine, but he certainly, Kenny, as you've already mentioned, he certainly has made a difference since he's come on.
Yeah, he has. I think when Todd Campbell plays in these kind of in this kind of 8 position, he's just got such a good movement and such a good energy in attack. He can take it, he passes it on, he moves on, he's got third man running, and he's got an eye for a pass he can create. And they seen at the end of last season when he finished on a really strong run of goal scoring as well. They just need to keep him fit, they need to get him up to speed, they need to keep him in this team as much minutes as they possibly can and get him up to speed, because I think he's such an important player for the way they want to play, or the way Philip Clement will want to play in an attacking sense.
Yeah, it strikes me that not too many players would necessarily have seen that pass that brought about Cyril Dessers' goal. As you say, the obvious one was out to Tavernier on the right hand side, but no one else in the ground had read that apart from Todd Cantwell, and Dessers finished well. Here's Sima coming forward as Rangers look for a 5th goal of the afternoon, looking to thread it through for Danilo. That was cut out though, and Whittaker picks up for Hibernian. 5 to play plus injury time at Ibrox. Rangers 4, Hibernian 0. It's been a comprehensive victory for Philippe Clement's side in his first game in charge, and here they come again. It's Sima up towards the edge of the penalty area, takes the shot on, it's blocked away by Fish, comes out to Tavernier, forces it to McCausland, right hand side for Rangers, comes in field the young Northern Irish winger. He was in their international squad, unused, I think, in both of their fixtures in the international break. Beg your pardon, he was in the under-21s and came on late against Serbia after having made his debut against Luxembourg last month. As Sima picks up left hand side for Rangers, he's been excellent again. Here's Danilo, edge of the penalty area. Can he get his name on the score sheet? Not too far away from doing so. Just tried to reverse it in at the near post of David Marshall and just wide of the right hand post. 4-0 it remains.
Yeah, he's unlucky there. I mean, they're trying to claim for offside, Hibs and Rocky Bashiri, but he's not. He's onside, and he just takes his touch inside and quickly tries to reverse it into the near post of David Marshall. He just pulls it too much, just ever so slightly past the post. Still 4-0.
That was a really bad facial injury he suffered in scoring against St Johnstone a few weeks back, and the mask he's wearing obviously designed to ensure there is no impact on the cheekbone that bore the brunt of Liam Gordon's head he went into the back of. But back playing a bit quicker than it might have been in either of the chaps beside me today, such as the equipment they're able to wear nowadays. I've seen the likes of Callum McGregor in recent times wearing that protective headgear, as it were. Here's Raskan picking up on the halfway line left hand side for Sima, halted in his tracks as Yuan tries to come forward. Sima trying to get back at him, fouls him, and it will be a Hibernian free kick. But it's certainly not been their day at Ibrox. You have to go back to 2018 for their last league victory over Rangers, and indeed their last victory here of any nature. But it's never looked on the cards, certainly since they fell behind to Abdallah Sima's fine strike early on in this contest, and long ago stopped being a contest. 4-0 Rangers lead with a couple of minutes of the 90 remaining. Here's Cantwell into the feet of Danilo, tries to bring it under control. Good challenge by Fish, but Cantwell picks up on the second. He's got Sima, who might well be in for a hat-trick on the edge of the box. He's got Whittaker to take on. Good block from Whittaker as Sima tried to bend it towards the far post. The Coslands won it back unfairly from Tavares though, and it will be a Hibernian free kick midway inside their own half, and it remains Rangers 4, Hibernian 0.
Real strange one, that foul there, young McCausland. Up against, is it Tavares?
Yeah.
Tavares twice the size of him. He's just put one hand out. Yeah, a little bit of, I'm not sure about the referee in there, but I agree with you. I think Rangers have been free-flowing, second half especially. Could have been another chance there. Sima could have got his hat-trick with a block shot. Hibs have been poor second half, that's me being kind.
It's full time at Firhill as Dundee United have run out comfortable victors over a team that you would imagine would be one of their challengers for the title, but Dundee United looking very good for the most part in the championship so far. And we'll get a full report from Chick Young come full time in this game, which is only just over a minute or so away, depending on what the fourth official Duncan Williams shows on his board in just a few seconds. Hibs trying to play forwards through Levitt, finds Yuan just inside the Rangers half. Yilmaz, who's done pretty well since he came on. Wonder what Rangers will do at left back in midweek if Barisic can't recover from the injury he's picked up. And it did look to be a muscle strain. You wouldn't imagine he's going to be fit to play in Prague, so I'll have to rethink that. Adam Devine might be one who comes in, but he hasn't played a whole lot of football, the young man.
Davies maybe, or he could
possibly
change formation.
Yeah.
Change formation, go three at the back, could put a wing back up higher.
And is Dujon still, is he injured again, or is
no, he's not in the squad today, is he?
Today, but that would be the obvious one if Barisic is out and Yilmaz is not there. He's filled in there before.
He certainly has, yeah, but as not in the squad today, not sure what his absence is related to. 4 minutes added on at the end, and we're into that right now as Rangers cruise towards the 3 points this afternoon. Remember, highlights on BBC Scotland later this evening, just 7:15. They'll be on as Rangers come forward once more. It's Cantwell. Whittaker, though, steps in, stops him momentarily, and then ball's played forward again. Seema won't catch it, out for a throw-in on the far side as the two managers stand at the edge of their technical areas with contrasting emotions, you would imagine, given the contrasting natures of their team's performances this afternoon. There'll be tougher afternoons for Philippe Clement as Rangers manager, that's for sure, but it's certainly a positive start the side have made.
Yeah, they have. They've been great, you know, in terms of what they had to do. They had to win today. First half they took their chances. Second half, I mean, let's be honest, without really kind of tearing Hibs apart.
There's a chance for Hibs. Yeah, Obita back into the area, might have gone for a goal himself. It was a tight angle certainly, but worth a try at 4-0 down, but instead he tried to pick out a teammate and he didn't find one, and Rangers come forward on the counter as McCausland plays it through for Rascan's here, 1-on-1 against Marshall to finish it. Oh, is he caught there by Fish? He just took a nudge in the back and he needed to get his shot away earlier, and it was just enough contact there from Fish to put him off, but not enough for the penalty, and Hibs survive on that occasion. It should have been 5-0.
Yeah, he's dwelling. I don't know, you're not going to get that time when you're going through and goal. That's just a kind of typical defensive midfielder. I think he's got all the time in the world. You've got Chase and Pat coming after you. Should just have slotted that away past David Marshall for his second goal of the game and his second goal for Rangers, and the icing on the cake today it would have been.
I tell you what a pass for McCausland, the young boy on. Great vision there, great way to pass, and as Kenny says, icing on the cake would have been just hit a shot, hit the target.
He just thinks he's got all the time in the world, and he doesn't realise he's got a defender who's trying to chase him back and stop him.
Yeah, Will Fish did well in the end to put him off, but no major impact on the outcome here as Rangers just knocked the ball about at the back between Suter and Butland, and then Butland plays it out to Tavernier on the right hand side. Deutsch comes back at him, but Tavernier continues forward, still he's going, pokes it for Danilo, and steps Bashiri to knock it out of play on the Rangers right hand side, deep into stoppage time at Ibrox as the stands begin to empty, with most of them going home pretty pleased with what they've seen.
And I know it's late in the game, but Christian Deutsch is just looking at his teammates saying, how am I having to chase James Tavernier 80 yards back this pitch? How can nobody be stopping across to try and close him? He's just almost ran right through the team. Really poor for Hibs today.
Final minute, yeah, it has been. Final minute of injury time. 4-0 they trail. And we'll hear from Nick Montgomery and of course Philippe Clement post-match. Martin Dowden heading down shortly to get their views on the 90 minutes we've seen today as Cantwell plays it forward for his fellow substitute Danilo. Bashiri, though, able to outmuscle him and knock it back to David Marshall, who plays it out to Fish just outside his own penalty area. Back it goes to Marshall. Hibs haven't been at the races this afternoon and we'll have to regroup. Full time at East End Park, 1-0. It's finished to Ayr United, and full time at Ibrox, where it's finished Rangers 4, Hibernian 0. The two managers exchange a handshake and applause all round Ibrox Stadium for the performance of Rangers, who scored 2 in each half to comfortably see off Hibernian. Abdallah Seema on 17 minutes opened the scoring, burying the ball low past David Marshall. Really confident and well struck finish from the winger to open the scoring and settle any nerves that might have been within the Rangers camp. And then just before half time, Nico Rascan grabbed his first Rangers goal from fully 30 yards, a low shot into the bottom right hand corner of David Marshall's goal. Into the second period, Sam Lammers struck a post before they did make it 3-0 when Lammers played Deschers through on goal. He rounded the goalkeeper as he desperately looked for a goal himself. He couldn't finish it, might have been denied by an arm on the goal line, but Seema was there to lash the ball into the back of the net to remove any doubt and make it 3-0. And then with 10 minutes left on the clock, Todd Cantwell played a wonderful pass into the feet of Dessers, who on this occasion showed great composure to slot it past Marshall and make it 4-0. That was an end to the scoring. Raskan should have had a second of his own this afternoon, but dallied in front of goal and he was clean through and should have made it 5, but it wasn't to be. Nonetheless, Rangers comfortable victors in Philippe Clement's first game in charge as they head to Prague in midweek for their latest Europa League challenge. Hibs have Celtic at home next weekend and will have to be a whole lot better than they were this afternoon. It finished at Ibrox. Rangers 4, Hibernian 0.